Delhi University organized its first ever literature festival, the DU Literature Festival 2023, which saw ex-Chief of Army Staff, retired General Manoj Mukund Naravne, in conversation with author Rachna Bipin Rawat. The event was held at Ramjas College, where General Naravne spoke about the late General Bipin Rawat. On the second day of the fest, Rachna Bipin Rawat along with General Naravne were present for the launch of her book titled Bipin, The Man Behind the Uniform, which talks about the life, the service and the larger-than-life legacy of the late general, who died in a tragic helicopter crash in Tamil Nadu on 8 December 2021. Since General MM Naravne had taken over as the Chief of Army Staff from General Bipin Rawat, who then went on to become India's first Chief of Defence Staff, no one in the force knew General Rawat better than General Naravne, as the two had worked together extensively. Speaking about the stern image that the army men have when they don their uniform, General Naravne also mentioned how there's a stark difference in their persona when they're not in office, especially General Rawat, who was an extremely fun-loving and warm person.
When we are in uniform, we are very strict and look very stern and don't smile. But then out of uniform, we are different persona altogether. That is why you have to see the man behind the uniform. He was strict in office and tolerated no nonsense, but he was equally sociable out of office hours. When we met him at a party or various weddings he used to go to, and then he would regale us with story after story, which would keep us in fits and fits of laughter. So with him, there was never a dull moment in or out of office.
When General Naravne received the news of General Rawat's chopper crash on December 8, 2021, he was taken aback. He had met him the previous evening and it was hard to digest this tragic news that he had just received, as General Rawat, like all other men in uniform, were known to be a fighter.
I still expected General Rawat to survive, but I knew him to be a very tough old boy, not one to give up easily. When the news started filtering that there was one survivor, I really thought it would be him. But alas, it was not to be. And as you will read in the book, he had survived the helicopter crash earlier while he was in the Navy. With that experience in my mind that he had survived one crash, I always felt he will survive the next one. And that was what kept the hope in me that perhaps he will come out.
Talking about General Rawat, General MM Naravne mentioned how he stood by the commitments he made and kept his promises. He would receive invitations to attend 2 to 3 weddings in a day, and he would make an appearance everywhere he was invited.
When that used to happen, we used to have snacks at the first venue, dinner at the second, and the sweet dish at the third. But we went everywhere.
General Rawat wasn't the one to blindly follow traditions. The battalion of Assam Rifles posted in Nagaland had a tradition of gifting expensive Naga gifts to guests who arrived. But when General Rawat visited Kohima, General Naravne greeted him with a less expensive Naga brooch, and his gesture was highly appreciated by General Rawat.
As you all know that by nature, Indians like to exchange gifts a lot. At the drop of a hat, we keep giving and taking things. General Rawat was not in that mold, and neither was I. In fact, in many ways we thought alike, and that is why we gelled also so much. And therefore, when General Rawat had visited, I had not given him any gift. And since, of course, he had come to Nagaland, it had to be something of local nature. So I had given him a Naga spear in a brooch form, which I had pinned on his table. And I have that photo with me still. And I remember his comment then that I wish that everybody else would follow your example.
Just like General Rawat, his wife Mrs. Madhulika Rawat was equally warm and a loving woman, who was the president of Army Wives Welfare Association and later as the president of Defence Wives Welfare Association, never backed away from her duties and reached out to the families of Jawans and the Veer Naris.
And also, Mr. Rawat was the perfect counterpoint to General Rawat. He was very strict and bullish at times. Then she was the only one who could actually get him back on track. like all wives get their husbands back on track. So she was very well liked, well loved. Even her college mates, when they speak about her and the times they had in the college days, always speak very fondly of the escapades that they used to have. And she was always ever ready to go that extra mile to make sure that our men, especially the widows of those who fall in any action, the widows, the Veer Naris, to get their dues and are well looked after.
Concluding the session with advice to the youth of the country, citing an example of General Rawat himself, he said,
You have to approach life with a never say die attitude. There will always be ups and downs. Things will not always go your way. But you have to overcome those obstacles. And sometimes you will fail also. So you have to be able to overcome that, accept those challenges. Those challenges only provide you new opportunities to go ahead. The life of General Rawat actually is a reflection of that. He did not always have it easy. In fact, in the National Defence Academy, he failed. First 6 months, he lost a semester and still went on to become the chief and the first series. So that is the lesson that we must draw. That these temporary setbacks would happen in life. You have to keep at it and have faith and belief in yourself.